Hello, my name is Garrett Lee, and today for this final presentation, we're going to be discussing all the valuable assets of milk and all the macronutrients that are involved in it, 10 different kinds of milk. So looking at this chart, the 10 different brands of milk that I decided to discuss was whole milk, low fat milk, almond milk, soy milk, rice milk, pea milk, unsweet almond milk, coconut, unsweetened cashew milk, and oat milk. So there are definitely a lot of different values that come with each milk, or each kinds of milk. And it's important to note that milk is packed with just a great combination of nutrients that are crucial when maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Just a single glass of milk provides adults 30% of daily required calcium levels. So just one glass of milk, you can chip away a decent amount of your required calcium for the average adult. Milk also provides the potassium and magnesium required to live a healthy and healthy lifestyle, maintain strong teeth and bones, and kind of some common ingredients that are consistent with all 10 of these milks are all these milks have water, they have fat, proteins, lactose, which is essentially just the sugar that's in milk, and then minerals, which are the salts. Looking at this chart, I'm only going to point out a few of these highlights. So whole milk has 150 calories, 8% total fat, 5% saturated fat, 8% protein, 12% sugar, and 30% calcium. And then also skip into the coconut milk, which is the lowest out of the milk, or out of the calcium percentage for milk at 10%. And as most people know, milk is a great resource of calcium. And I'm just going to point out another one. Low-fat milk has 90 calories, 0% total fat, 0% saturated fat, 8% protein, 12% sugar, and 30% calcium. And we're going to go back to this table throughout the presentation. So I'm going to compare and contrast these 10 different brands of milk. Starting off with whole milk. Whole milk is generally all these milks are from a cow most of the time, and are composed of water, carbohydrates, healthy fats, proteins, and a good amount of minerals such as potassium and phosphorus. So the composition of milk generally depends on the breed of a cow, and just some examples of some of these cows are Holstein and Jersey cows. And it generally depends on the animal's diet and the stage of its lactation. And regular cow milk used to be the gold standard of milk before all the technological advancements and research that kind of concentrate on providing macronutrients to certain people, and like people have certain needs. And that's when some of these natural produced milk, such as cashew, soy milk, almond milk, coconut milk, were created. I would say whole milk has the best combination of macronutrients out of the 10 milks. And then for low-fat milk, there's, in comparison to whole milk, low-fat milk is normally less than 1.5% of the milk fat. So essentially, the fat is reduced from the whole milk using technology, and generally low-fat milk contains a lot of the same nutrients as regular milk, but it's just, like I said, basically made by removing part of the fat from the regular whole milk. And then we're moving on to cashew milk. I'm going to go back to this chart. Cashew milk is the equivalent of 11 cashews in each glass. Essentially, there's 4 grams of protein per serving, and actually has 8% iron, which is the most out of the 10 milks that I have introduced to you. I would be aware that it can contain half a teaspoon of cane sugar per serving. So I would recommend looking for an unsweetened variety if you're trying to watch your physique. So soy milk. Soy milk is actually the closest thing to a complete protein. So so if you're an athlete and your desire is to gain muscle mass, then soy milk would probably be the best option, even though it may not taste the best. It is probably the best to consume. Something to point out is that soy milk is probably the most minimally processed out of the bunch. The more processed the milk is, the harder it is for your body to recognize and metabolize certain foods. And then for almond milk, the fat in almond milk is actually healthy for your heart, mainly because it contains monosaturated and polysaturated fats, which some of the research that I've looked up suggests that it can protect from coronary heart disease. But one of the main cons about almond milk in comparison to these other 10 is that is more costly per gallon than the other milks, and it generally averages around $6 per gallon. But it is easily accessible, and in my personal opinion, it's the best tasting milk. And then coconut milk, I would be aware of this kind of milk because it packs more saturated fats than other milk alternatives. It has if you've ever had it, has a nice creamy consistency. It's pleasant to taste in comparison to other milk alternatives. And but something to note is that it is not as easy accessible, and therefore the price range can go from $1.49 to $8.88. Talking about unsweetened almond milk. Almond milk has a sweet, nutty, tasty, and silky texture. It's low in calories. It's chock full of vitamins and minerals such as vitamin D, E, A, calcium, magnesium, potassium, and macronutrients like zinc, iron, and phosphorus. And then oat milk is made from oats containing 2 to 3 grams of fiber per serving, which is a healthy amount. Adults should generally consume around 25 grams of fiber daily, and but that is if they're following the average 2,000 calorie per day diet. This fiber is great because it boosts your digestive system and helps prevent constipation. And then pea milk, overall pea milk typically doesn't provide the same amount of nutrients that you'd get from cow milk or soy milk. However, this shouldn't be an issue if you consume a good combination of meat, poultry, seafood, and eggs. And then lastly, rice milk contains almost no protein. So I would recommend combining rice milk with other protein-rich foods. And moving on, because I'm running out of time, some of those red flags that stand out, and specifically coconut milk, oat milk, and pea milk. Coconut milk contains coconut cream made from coconut water, salt, a thickener that is locust bean gum, and in emulsifier such as sunflower lecithin is what I researched, and whatever vitamins and minerals are included is also something to note. And like I said earlier, coconut is not as accessible as other milks, and it ranges up to $8.88 per gallon. And then oat milk is at least one brand of oat milk adds this thing called chicory root fiber to boost the fiber content of grams per serving. So if your doctor recommends less fiber in your diet, then I would stay away from oat milk. And then pea milk, for someone who is a vegan and consumes no animal products, this is the one I would probably recommend as a vegan. But if you have no interest in being a vegan, then I'd stay far away from pea milk. And there's a few things that stood out. Mostly, I only have a minute left. Mostly, I would say that soy milk stood out the most because I didn't really realize how much protein was in it. I would assume that whole milk would be the highest in protein, and then as far as the best, like what I think is the best milk option, I would say whole milk is the best option because it's has more accessibility, it's more affordable, and has the best balance of macronutrients. It has and it's in the fats and whole milk. There's a thing called omega-3 fatty acids that have been linked to many health benefits, including improved heart and brain health and a lower risk of cancer. And the more fat a cup of milk has in it, the higher the omega-3 content is. That kind of eliminates the stigma that's attached to whole milk that insists that because it has a higher saturated fat, then a person consuming it is more prone to heart disease. But there's no experimental research that actually backs up these claims. So for all those reasons, I think whole milk's the best, and I appreciate you taking the time for this presentation. Thank you.